I wouldn't get your hopes up. It's unlikely to happen. That job you're excited about, you might not get it. I put an offer in on a house, but I probably won't get it. What's the backup plan? As we get older, we learn that it's easier to lower our expectations. It's less painful. We try not to get our hopes up too high just in case what we want doesn't happen. But this isn't a criticism of that mindset. It's human behavior to protect ourselves from being hurt. We all do it. We don't tell people about a job interview just in case we don't get it. We keep our true hopes close to our chest, squash them down, because if a little bit of excitement spills out, it might hurt if you have to scoop it back in. But I believe that I'm alive and stood here today because of a powerful hope that I might get the chance to live a normal life, to make it to double digits, 10 years old. That was my first big hope. And if I didn't get my hopes up for that, I could be dead. As a child, I was wildly confident, precocious, bold. I was the kind of kid that made everybody sit down in the living room and made my sisters perform in a show that I'd written, produced, directed, and starred in. I wanted to do anything up front in the spotlight, so I do love this. I wanted to be a pop star. I wanted to be an actress, a presenter. Anything super special, sparkly, glamorous. In fact, I love that word, glamorous, so much that I even used to tell people that that was my middle name, Samantha Glamorous. It's quite good, isn't it? Sam Glam. But around 6 or 7 years ago, I found myself working behind the scenes. I'd lowered my expectations to something more manageable. But that went against a promise that I made to my younger self. When I was 9 years old, I was diagnosed with cancer. I had a lump in the side of my face called rhabdomyosarcoma. Obviously, when you get that kind of news, it's really difficult. Throws your world upside down. The future is scary. It's uncertain. I remember being taken to a play area, like a kids' play area in the hospital, whilst my parents were told about my diagnosis. And I was really angry. I was so frustrated because I felt like this kids' play area was for babies. I was too old to be there. I'm also quite intuitive, so I think I knew that something wasn't right. I was told shortly afterwards, alongside my parents. And I remember sitting in a bathroom attached to a hospital room that was garishly bright colours with loads of kid stuff on the wall, worrying that it might be painful to die. But it's funny how single conversations, even single sentences, can have a profound impact. Because not long after that, me and my parents, my family, were sat talking with the doctors, working out what we were going to do, the treatment plan. And this doctor said something so powerful that it set the tone, it set the mindset for my survival. Maybe even my life, to be honest. He was understandably trying to reassure me, reassure us as a family, make us feel better, give us hope. And he said this: children are much more likely to survive a serious illness than adults because of their lack of negativity and cynicism. Their innocence, resilience, their ability to worry less about the possibility of bad stuff, but most importantly, hope for the best stuff. I want to say now that I am not by any means saying that a bit of positive thinking cured my cancer. It was the doctors and the treatment. But when your life hangs in the balance, it is both your body and your mind that have to go on that journey. And my parents took that really, really seriously. That hopeful mindset that the doctor told us about. And one of the most potent tactics that I remember was them creating a physical light at the end of the tunnel that sat at the end of every single one of my hospital beds. You'd probably call it an image board. I didn't really have a name for it at the time. But my mum took the back of cereal boxes, cut it out nice and big. At the top, in bold bubble writing, it said, "I am better now." Sorry. I forget that makes me feel emotional. And we filled that board with everything that I wanted to do when I was better. We took magazines, cut out all these things, filled the board, and stuck my face over all of them. And that board was my total focus, inspiration when things felt impossible and never ending. Because they do. Even when I know about this hopeful mindset, they did. It's easy to dip into those dark thoughts, those dark ideas. When you're being constantly sick, you're in isolation rooms, you're away from all your friends. And I could be really grumpy. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to take part in any activity on the ward. No, I'm not doing that. I'd lock myself in bathrooms. I didn't want to do the treatment, even though I knew it was the right thing. But that board, my hopes and my dreams kept me going. Even in those darkest moments, kept me going, reminded me, just keep going. You're going to get there to those things on that board that you really, really want to do. Swim with dolphins. You want to get your ears pierced. Go on holiday. Get to be 10. All of those things were so important to me that it provided that inspiration that I needed. And I think if we can inject just a little bit of that innocent hope into our lives as adults, then greater happiness and success is waiting on the other side. We say to kids at primary school, don't we? What do you want to be when you grow up? Anything in the whole wide world. And then by the time these same kids get to high school, we're asking them to make safer, realistic choices, slowly shrinking those wild hopes. As a child going through that experience, I didn't often stop to think about how I was going to achieve those things on the board. How was I going to do that? What if this happened? What if that happened? That didn't really cross my mind. I just kept going. Chemo cycle after chemo cycle, one step after another. And that's okay. The board was there providing that sort of inspiration. I just kept going. And very kindly, I was sheltered from all the gory details as a child. Obviously, I didn't necessarily know if there'd been really bad news. I didn't even understand the concept of time. 12 months of treatment, what does that mean? I don't know, I'm 9. But that gave me this sort of blind, innocent hope to be able to continue. Here's how I see it. As adults, we see the full picture. We see the entire mountain that we need to climb to get to where we want to go. But that means that we see the really steep bit, we see the rocky bit, we see the crumbly bit over here. We've maybe read a review on a certain section that's particularly dodgy. And that understandably makes us feel worried. It makes us feel concerned. It makes us lower our expectations, maybe not even bother to climb the mountain at all. But as a child, you have a greater ability to live in the now. Take each step as it comes. Each moment, each section of the mountain. Just keep going. Just keep going with this blind, innocent hope that you will make it. But obviously that's easier as a child because you're sheltered from all the gory details. You've got the adults to lead you. But I wholeheartedly believe that every single person on this planet has the right to belong here and from whatever starting place, hope for the wildest thing that we can dream up, just like we did as children. So how do we do that? I believe it has to be intentional and practiced. See, I made that promise to myself that I would go and do anything that I wanted in life after that experience, but it's not always quite that easy. I belong to a club that I never really wanted to, the I Beat Cancer Club. And you often hear, don't you, people who have been through a similar experience talking about seeing the world, seeing life in a different way, wanting to grab every single opportunity, do the thing, run the marathon, being grateful to be here. And I absolutely feel every single one of those things. But the dark cloud of adult cynicism got to me as well. I finished drama school and I wanted to be a presenter, naturally. But at the time I was working at Topshop and I had no idea how I was going to get there. So I set my sights on the local BBC radio station. I emailed them, I phoned them, I applied for an apprenticeship twice and was denied. And eventually I just turned up and I negotiated the deal of the century. 2 weeks of unpaid work experience. But it was great. And I made myself so useful during that time that by the end, I was getting freelance work. But as a producer, behind the scenes, because they needed good producers and I was quite good. So suddenly, all of these opportunities, different shows, different radio stations were being presented to me. And over time, my true hopes were knocked to the side because this was a little bit easier. This was more manageable. I could see the route up the mountain. But that's not what I wanted. I wasn't entirely happy. And Sam Glam, who first hoped to be 10, she wanted more. And I knew that I could. I just didn't have the courage to try. Luckily, my dad noticed what was going on and out came the trusty image board. I'm very, very lucky, but I've come back to this process many times in my life at lots of different crossroads. And I think I've identified 2 things to help us to hope like a child as adults. Number 1, be you. Be confident and be comfortable with exactly who you are. There is no one else in this world who looks like you, thinks like you, feels like you, has had your experiences. So be comfortable in exactly who that is. Hope and be exactly like you were when you were 5. You only know how to be you when you're 5, don't you? Like, I'm impatient, I'm messy, I'm dyslexic. I'm cool with all of those things because I'm also really resilient. I also have loads of ideas. I'll never stop trying. So number 1 is be you. Simple. Easier said than done sometimes. And number 2 is hope without the how. Remove those constraints that you've created and hope freely. Hope with your heart, hope with your head, everything that you want. Anything that is in the whole wide world. Somebody else might say that's crazy, but that doesn't matter. Anything, just let it all out. And once I've done those 2 things, I'm ready to create a new image board. I get everything out, boom, put it on the board. And this brings me a lot of comfort. I come back to it regularly in my life to have everything out there and keep it in the front of my mind in decisions that I'm making without stressing too much about exactly how those things are going to happen. I just trust, a little bit like when I was 10, that it will. And there are obviously a few other ingredients in success. But I believe that if we don't have hope, we don't have anything. Hope is the beginning. Hope is the start. And here's the truth. If what you want doesn't happen, it's going to hurt you whether you get your hopes up or not. But it's going to hurt even more if you don't try. Today, I'm stood here very proudly in the spotlight, which I love. And I am a presenter. And I'm the founder of a charity that is going to help children who are in an awful situation like I was. And I'm very proud of that. I've achieved, quote unquote, impossible task after impossible task. But I don't think I'm special. I just hope that I can and have the courage to try, even when it's really scary. So, not for me, not for Sam Glam, but for you and the younger version of yourself who is more likely to survive a critical illness purely because of the mindset, please do get your hopes up. Thank you.